work, everything. It's things like that that I worry about. Are they going to do an all women's broadcast team? You could think of Renee Young, who did broadcast commentary for NXT. Beth Phoenix. You could think of Lita. There's a bunch of these women who would have a great shot at, doing that. Are they going to put Charlie Caruso behind the microphone on this pay-per-view in the sense of a broadcaster? I wouldn't, because I don't know what kind of experience she has doing that, unless she's been training for it for this purpose. They could, you know what they could even do, and I would be really in favor of this. I'm not so sure. ESPN's Doris Burke. You can have her broadcast this event. Now, she's a stellar play-by-play broadcaster. First woman to be a play-by-play person for an NFL televised game. But does she know enough about wrestling to do an adequate job? Now, I'm sure as the broadcaster of her caliber, she would do her homework, but is it going to be that out of place? Is she a fan of the product where she could contribute a little bit more than just going with emotions or just the basics? Because they're saying then, now, forever. Will she know these women of the past? What kind of, so will they do all women's broadcasting? They're going to do a woman and announcer, whether it be JoJo. Probably JoJo will announce the whole show. As much as I'm excited about this, again, all these women's companies back at, Shimmer, Shine, Stardom, WSU, they all have done it before. All women's events. Then Impact Wrestling, while they were capitalizing on their far superior Knockouts division, they had an event of their own, a pay-per-view of their own, but to what audience, I don't know. The reach that the WWE's Evolution pay-per-view is going to get, the coverage it's going to get in the media is going to be outstanding. Then I go back to the question. Is this really an evolution? I've been saying why it hasn't been, but now I'm going to lead into why it is. Because I had just said, the amount of coverage that this is going to get in the media, in the mainstream media, is going to be incredible. Just as an example, I was listening to Z100 here locally in New York, and in part of their news bit, that I believe it's Danielle Monero, she actually featured it on her headlines bit, where she mentioned that there's going to be an all-women's pay-per-view coming up in October at Long Island. I don't know if it's, and it is a New York thing, so it's a good way to segue it in. Yeah, it's in Long Island, but this is bigger than that. Now, it's smart for WWE to do it here in Long Island because you're going to get the best crowd. That'll be the liveliest of the bunch other than Chicago. Or even LA. But the media coverage that's in this metropolitan area by itself alone is worth a lot. And the national outlets, they're going to cover this. It's going to be incredible. So it's an evolution because more eyes are going to be on women's wrestling. That the casual fan's going to say, well, they're taking a chance on them. What's going to happen next? Little do they know, there's other stuff that's been around a lot longer. So because of this Evolution pay-per-view, more people are going to search for women's wrestling. Guys, girls, and everyone else alike, they're going to search for more women's wrestling. They'll find all these shows like Shine and Stardom and Shimmer. Then they'll also realize that a lot of their favorites, like Bayley, Asuka, I don't know so much Asuka because I remember her just really competing in Chikara. Bailey, they're obviously going to be under different names, but you'll recognize them and be like, oh shit, they actually wrestled here? Wow, they've been doing this for a long, so it's definitely going to bring a lot of more attention to wrestling from a casual fan, and again, men, women, and anybody else alike. And this could be a start of something really huge for just the health and growth of women's wrestling. Some casual fan's going to see this and be like, oh shit, they can do it, so I can do it. And they'll work at it, they'll train, and they'll be there, and it'll be good. They could be the next they could be the next Alondra Blaze or Moolah, or, well, not with her dirty tactics, Moolah backstage, but that's a whole story. I digress. Snickers, if anybody really wants to know. That's another story for another time. But they could be the next greatest women's champion, and all they had to do was say, okay, well, I got my eye caught on to this Evolution pay-per-view, and I was hooked, and now I can't get unhooked. And you never know what'll come of just casually watching this as for the business in the future. And I'm going to point out, just a few people that I would see on Twitter and how big of a deal it is for them. And here's where I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I just thought of this last second. Of the network here, Filling the Void Podcast Network, is Mandy, who is Blake's wife. She co-hosts with him for No Days But Today, a Rent retrospective, and her blog casts on the network, Messy Magical Motherhood, Making the Pieces Fit. Go check those out. But Mandy had posted something on Facebook. I'm going to see if I can find it, because it actually kind of hit. Here we go. So her dad, Mark, also hosts with Blake and Sal on the network, the Blake and Sal Show. Here's what was said on Mandy's Facebook, okay? Wrestling was a way of life in my house growing up. Spent so many Saturdays on my dad's knee watching and being mesmerized by the stories and the athleticism. I did always wonder why the women weren't doing what the men were. They were arm candy and nothing more. As I grew up, the women evolved, right into bra and panties matches, Playboy centerfolds, and pillow fights. It was disheartening, to say the least. It was an introduction into a world that didn't value women as equals. She goes on to say, I continued to watch, and slowly women were given a real chance. The likes of Mickie James, Trish Stratus, and Machete Girl, at Machete Girl. I don't know who that is on Twitter. My apologies. Anyway, made me believe there was a chance of equality. For the first time, I had women that I could look up to, women that could be real role models. As time went on, we were introduced to Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and my favorite, the last kicker, Becky Lynch. Incredible talent in the form of fiercely beautiful women. Alexa Bliss showed me that an eating disorder doesn't have to define you. Sonya Deville is unapologetically herself. For those who don't know, Sonya Deville is a gay person. And Nia Jax, I don't have words to truly thank her for being such an inspiration to me. Stephanie McMahon had a historic announcement this evening. There will be the first all-women's pay-per-view. I got chills. Tears came to my eyes. 30-plus years of watching glorified bathroom breaks and grotesque gender inequality have led to this. At WWE, #Evolution. I was born ready, then, now, forever. People don't realize how many women out there are huge fans of wrestling. You look at Maria Menounos, who recited Dusty's Hard Times promo to him at a Hall of Fame red carpet. And someone like Mandy, who, you know, is I think, a very strong woman herself. She needs to give herself a lot more credit because she is incredible herself. And it's someone like Mandy who has seen this digression of women talent into the progression of what it is at this moment. And for women like Mandy and many others out there, this is a huge victory, because is this really an evolution? Yes. It's moments like this where a company of the scale of WWE is now showcasing their women's talent, where they have just been arm candy, eye candy, this, that. It's been sad. And for me as a male, and from watching a lot of these independent talents, my favorite growing up on the independents was cheerleader Melissa, and the other one who's still kicking ass is Lufisto. They're both fantastic. I wanted to see them in WWE, but then I didn't want to see them be reduced to what was on TV. Now the doors are open for many of women who are great on the independents can finally get their shot. And a fair shot, a deserving shot, to be who they were, is a wrestler. While it's still sports entertainment, in the WWE, these women are being allowed the chance to be wrestlers. So it culminates from Iron Women matches between Bayley and Sasha, to Hell in a Cell matches, to Money in the Banks, to international flavor, to, it's a very proud moment for women everywhere. And I'm very happy and proud as a wrestling fan to be able to be alive to see this. And because of things like this, I am proud to be a wrestling fan, because this isn't just a huge victory for women. While it is huge, it is a bigger victory. While the victory is huge for women, like I said, it is a huge victory for pro wrestling and its growth going forward. So that's something to look forward to in Long Island. I hope to get tickets for it because I want to be there to witness history in the WWE ring. And hopefully my lady will be accompanying me to such an event as well, because that would be nice. Anyway, let me take a quick break, and I will come back to talk about Slammiversary, as well as the NXT Championship change, as well as whatever else I can get to. Hang in there. I'll be right back.